how I create some of my characters. Yeah, I've chosen her. She seems to be so popular on the internet right now. Massive hit on Netflix as well. I do have to say though that Christina Ricci's Wednesday Addams is the one that I grew up with, so I'm very fond of her too. So I used her as one of the references, particularly the look of like the hair. Now I just love how it is, and some of the rules I apply to create characters. I think the main thing for me here is just trust the process. That is my main tip. So when I start working with Wednesday Addams, I'm always trying to find where the geometric forms are. So don't worry about being too precise, but finding where the geometric forms would be on her and trying to find where the lights are bouncing from. This is what I'm doing right now, and it does look very weird to start with, but I'm just trying to find where those geometric forms are. So I found like, no, it's very rounded face, and I've got her jaw extremely like harsh lines at the moment, but we're gonna polish this later on for sure. So I traced a little bit over her, but then like I moved to the side, and now I'm trying to find what makes her more cartoony and more expressive. Because obviously when you look at her, it doesn't quite look like her. It looks like one of those very vectorized, AI type of stuff that you get online. And then how can we stylize? How can we make the proportions and things like work a little bit more in our favor? At the moment now, I'm just worried really about getting all the elements in there. So I'm just trying to fix her hair. This is like a nice tip on like new thing that Illustrator has been doing as well, where you just turn your stroke into something with the tapping at the end, and then like this is what I'm doing right now. Trying to find the right kind of like contrast with the colors, and then I'm trying to minimize the amount of color. And then this is how I start moving into finding different proportions to get more that kind of like cartoony and more expressive feeling, rather than what you'd find on any kind of like a computer generated image that just vectorize a image. So I'm just trying to add like my details in there, but you can see like now I move her jaw a little bit lower, and now I'm playing with the eyes. Like, this is something extremely important to mind. Like the minute you make them bigger, you make them more cartoony, you give more characteristics to it. Also, like if you have to notice, like by just scaling them up as I'm doing right now, it just, the whole thing feels a little bit weird. So you have to make sure that you polish the eyes and make both of them look the same and have the same sort of like size. I'm moving to fixing the right eye of her, like just make sure they're exactly the same as the left one. Yeah, so just really pairing, make sure that it has the same sort of like size and that they are. I'm just trying to find like now some of the bouncing lights that are coming from her. As you can see the reference on the right. Another nice tip is like once you get your proportions and things more or less done, you can duplicate whatever you've got, move to the layer below, and then just slightly move to the left or right where the light is bouncing from, and you've got this nice like ring light effect, which is what I'm doing here in her lips and also in her hair. I've got like an extra light, and then like I turned them into shadows because I think like it worked a little bit better, and so on. So, and then we've kind of like got our Wednesday Addams face done. I'm gonna speed through a little bit and then go into body now. Kept like similar pose of what she had, but like as you can tell, like I'm just exaggerating a little bit the body proportions. And then I think when it comes down to illustrating a character in animation, it's all about how you can make things very stylized. How can you exaggerate poses and stuff? And so yeah, like having her with the tipped shoulder and they exaggerate there, make her hips a lot smaller as well. Everything that makes you look like a little bit more cartoony, give more expression to your character is a great thing. Another thing that I was doing that's important to also highlight is like when you add your highlights to the characters, and then also that defines the silhouette. I use a lot like shadows to define my characters. It's hard to tell where the hair starts and where her shoulder starts, so I'm just adding a little bit of highlights in there. And as you can see, like everything started off from a very geometric proportions, and then it gets like more defined once I find the right place where that should be. But as I said before, as well as her face, like trust the process. You start with geometric forms. It's a very simple, all to define like a better like shape, like character shape. So and then I'm just adding like, now this is something I've been asked a lot, like how do I do my gradients, because I mainly work on Illustrator, so The gradients are like not necessarily something that I'm aiming for, like particularly working with vectors, but like I do work with like some of those textures. So that's how I kind of like, I just create a simple mask and just place them there. This is how I'm like trying to make that work. And now I'm trying just to define where the shadows are bouncing from. And again, like they can be very loose at this stage. I mean, once you're happy with the proportions of your character, the more time you spend like texturing and adding shadows, the better it will look. So again, like don't give up on the process, like just trust the process. And then the more textures you add to it, the more shadows you do, the better it will look. This is just not very Wednesday Addams shoes, but I'm gonna make it look like Wednesday Addams shoes. Look for references. What does she wear? And she's got definitely black. I think this is more like Pugsley vibe, but I thought it would be cool to have on her too. Also changed my mind. I was like, well, does she need to be walking towards camera? Maybe she just stands still when we're walking towards us. She's that kind of like badass. I'm literally there like duplicating the shoes and just changing, constantly referring back to my references. And then now I'm just trying to like make sure that the colors work really well and they're part of like the same system. Yes, this is my final outcome. For those who actually have seen the old Christina Ricci Addams family, they have like this kind of like font that's very nice. I love it, very long. And I tried to match with Tim Burton's like Wednesday's like logo. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. Again, if you guys remember what it looked like at the very beginning, the geometric kind of like very computer generated vector into what ended up being with nice proportions, big eyes, bigger lips, and still look a lot like her. It has this kind of like more cartoony and more defined character. So yeah, again, like trust the process. And if you do have any questions, don't hesitate. Comment below and let me know what you think about this, and hope you like it. Cheers.